Dustin Diamond, most known for his role on Saved by the Bell as Samuel Powers, a.k.a. Screech. You know him, you loved him, or you didn't. But if you grew up in the time that I did, he was a major part of your childhood. Well, he passed away this week at the age of 44 from advanced lung cancer. And this was a big surprise to everyone, including him. He was just diagnosed 3 weeks ago. He was rushed to the hospital with some complications, some sort of lump in his throat. And tests came back that he had advanced lung cancer. He went through one round of chemotherapy and then died. It was unexpected. It was very aggressive and fast. And it's sad. It's really sad, when anyone passes away. But, when it's someone that you grew up watching that you felt like was a part of your childhood, it hits you a little more, and it makes you realize your own age too, to realize that, he's 44, I'm 36, people my age, it's like that could be us at any moment, and that's scary to think about. It definitely makes you feel the fragility of life, just how precious it is. And so I was saddened to hear this news, but with the news for the past couple weeks, it definitely seemed like a possibility. To finally hear the news that he had passed yesterday afternoon. Yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks. So, something I wanted to talk about here was what's going on social media. Now, all of the former cast members from Saved by the Bell are posting their condolences and their goodbyes and their, heartfelt messages. And I see a lot of people in the comment sections on Instagram and Twitter complaining that how dare these people pretend to care that their ex-castmate passed away when they didn't even like him. They hated him, they said. And this stems from they have a storied past, okay? In the years after Saved by the Bell went off the air, there was a rift. And, well, honestly, it started way back. Dustin Diamond was the youngest cast member. In fact, he's a couple years younger than everyone else that starred on the show. And so, automatically, he was kind of not in with the rest of the group. They treated him like a little kid because, to him, or to them, he was, When you're 16 years old, you're not usually hanging out with 13-year-olds, right? So it seemed as he kind of got pushed out of the group a little bit and not let in on most of the fun that they were having. And, they just didn't click. And so it really started there. And years later, Dustin wrote a tell-all book that, said a lot of things about some not so wholesome antics that went on set, saying that there was sex and drugs and just all kinds of things, that everyone was an asshole and prima donnas and yeah, they were all into drugs, they were all into sex and alleged sexual assaults and all kinds of things, right? And no one has corroborated this. Like, no one agrees that these things actually happened. He was the only one saying it. And so some people believe what he's saying is true and that everyone else just, they don't want to be outed for this. And others, believe the rest of the crew and the cast and the director and producer of the show, who said, no, nothing like that was ever going on there. So, believe what you want, but this is kind of the rift. This is where it got really bad between Dustin Diamond and the rest of the crew. Mario Lopez, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Tiffany Thiessen, Elizabeth Berkley, and Lark Voorhees. They all kind of distanced themselves from him after he wrote this tell-all book. And in years past, he's apologized for the book. So it leads me to believe that it wasn't all true, that it was a money grab. And, that's just my opinion. Who knows? Some of it may have been true. But the fact is that years later, he did admit to feeling bad about writing the book and, just kind of saying like, yeah, man, he felt like an outsider with that group, and he never felt like part of the crew. And if you watch Saved by the Bell, man, like, he was a big part of why that show worked. He really was, like, comedically pretty genius. Like, he was great, man. If you go back and watch it, like, he's definitely one of the stars of that show. I know Zach Morris was everyone's, like, main character that they cared to follow, or maybe you were an AC Slater guy, but, you never really gave Screech any credit. He was just a goofball. But if you really watch what this kid is doing, like, he had some comedic talent. He really did. And all the way through. I mean, just the fact that he continued on that show for many years after the rest of the crew moved on, when they switched and went to Saved by the Bell, the new class, he was a part of that as well. So he had some chops, at least for that, for the comedy that he was playing. He was very good. So people are complaining that, and he was not asked to be a part of the reboot, the Saved by the Bell reboot that has just happened this past year, that is going into season 2. And everyone said, like, well, the reason he wasn't invited was probably because he didn't get along with anyone, and all the stuff he wrote in the tell-all book, and, why would they want him to be a part of that reimagining? Everyone else was invited back besides Dustin Diamond. And he's had some other problems in his personal life. I believe he did some jail time. He stabbed a guy in a bar or something, I think. He had a tough time. And you know what? This is not uncommon for former child stars to have a rough go of it after, their years of acting are mostly behind them, if they didn't last on in their careers past the childhood actor stage. And, it's a sad thing to see. It's a sad road to watch them go down. But honestly, it seemed in the last couple years that he was kind of getting things together and turning a corner, and had a little more contact with the rest of the gang from Saved by the Bell. And like I said, he had apologized for his earlier behavior towards them and the things he wrote in the book. And I think a lot of people are missing that part, this last couple years part, but because people are complaining that they're saying that the rest of the Saved by the Bell alum are being disingenuous, that they don't really feel bad that this, guy that they acted with, for years and were part of something huge, that still is a big deal today. They're saying that they're pretending to be sad. But I gotta say, man, come on. You can dislike someone. You can have disagreements with someone. You can even full out, like, hate someone and not feel good that they passed away. You can extend your condolences. You can feel bad for their family. You can feel bad that they're not in this world anymore. I just don't understand, like, to say that they're being, like, that they're lying, that they didn't care about him. I don't think that's true. I really don't. I don't think that, I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I'm sure that some of them were not fond of him because of his behavior, because of the things that he had written about them in the past. And it's hard for them to get over. But do I think that they wanted him to die or feel, that they don't feel anything now that he's passed? I just think that's a ridiculous way to look at things. Really, it's a really immature way to look at things. There's plenty of people that I don't associate with or don't get along with that if they died, if they were no longer on this earth, I'd feel plenty bad. Especially if I had a professional career with them. If there's someone I worked with on something that was a really big deal, it's always there. You're always, in a way, part of that group of people when something lives on the way that Saved by the Bell did. And just to imagine that they wouldn't be saddened by his passing is crazy. I just think I think it's really kind of sickening that people are, like, oh, look, they never cared about him when he was alive, and now all of a sudden they're so sad when he passed away. It's like, no, man, that's not how that works. Yeah, of course they feel sad. They feel sad that someone who was maybe not current day a big part of their lives, but at one point a big part of their lives, and that made some mistakes, sure. He's gone now. Forever. There's no chance for them to reconcile. There's no chance for them to ever get close again. And that in itself is sad. So I don't know. I think people just need to give it a rest. People need to lay off. I think it's even more sad, than if these people were faking their compassion, which I don't believe. It's even more sad that people are coming out and accusing them of fake compassion. I get it. They're actors, right? They're paid to pretend. But this guy was a part of their lives. And I don't think that they wished ill on him, even if they didn't have him around, even if they didn't want to work with him anymore, even if they didn't like him. They didn't want to see him die. And to go out like that at such a young age, that's sad, man. That's sad. So yeah, I believe that they meant what they said when they're saying they're sad to hear that their friend passed away. That they're calling him a friend now. I don't think that's, I don't think that's blasphemy in any way. I don't think that's wrong for them to call him a friend or say that they're sad to see that their friend is no longer with us. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think people are being really immature, and I'm saddened by the loss of Dustin Diamond. All right. If you enjoy videos or podcasts like this, here's what I do on this channel, on this podcast. What I do is every day I pick a random topic, something that I think is interesting and hopefully other people do too, and I talk about it. It's usually entertainment or pop culture related, but sometimes it goes a little deeper than that, and sometimes I tell funny life stories, all kinds of stuff. Book reviews, movie reviews, all kinds of things. So if you're into that, if you'd like to get something new and hopefully interesting in your feed every day, then please subscribe for more, or favorite or follow the Daily BS podcast, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And if you do decide to subscribe or favorite or follow the podcast, then I will talk to you again tomorrow.